So, I want to talk about certain things that I've seen that people were mentioning in the last video I uploaded. You know, I understand that people get triggered easily by things because you might say things that offend or touch a sensitive topic that they strongly cling on to or identify with or had a past relationship with. And I do understand these things because everybody is looking for some type of identity within this world, this reality. But that doesn't mean that if someone questions or challenges it, that you cannot distinguish the true self from that identity. And that's where ego comes in place. I personally am not offended if people think and believe that I am aggressive or I am relating my message in a way that's not positive, or I am filled with confusion, hatred, bitterness, and I basically don't know what I'm talking about. It's basically just saying and telling me, you know what, I prefer you just shut up. But that's the thing. If we all cling on to a organization that we identify with, and there are promises, but these are empty promises, and I do not take the liberty and the responsibility to interfere because it is essential to me that eventually the outcome for you and your life and your path is equally in a higher status. It leads you to expansion, growth, and completion and fulfillment. So you equally can say, it is done. That's the problem with people. People do not seem themselves worthy of that completionist opportunity. They rather give all the responsibility, inclusive the power, to a higher up, whether it's a manager in an organization or a CEO, whether it's a lieutenant or a captain, for example, in the army, or whether it's a bishop or a pope in an institute like Roman Catholicism. And yes, again, I'm using it as an example, but that's just the example that comes to me right now. The thing is that you can actually see where I'm getting at with making these points, that giving away your power, giving away your self-worth, giving away the opportunity to be of meaning and to share your value and to have a positive impact is being kept from happening by these institutes and organizations. Why do you think there was a need to create them? What people seem to confuse is that these things are created to serve and help you. That's their main goal and purpose, to be humanitarian in core essence. But that's not basically true. The only thing that is intentionally done by them is to keep you low, to give you a glimpse, some glitter in your eyes of what, for example, salvation can be or feel like. But that's basically just keeping a carrot on a stick in front of a donkey. And that is not the true intention of what Christ's life's mission was on earth by being amongst the people. So that's where the things go astray. That's where things go wrong. And it's sad that people would be satisfied and settling for having an idea what fulfillment and what being or coming to that point of completion is, instead of actually doing it and working to it. And when I say working towards it, I don't mean doing works to receive it, because that is not equally right. I mean that you put in the effort that is required to be able to fulfill it and experience it fully and share it. That's different, because that's like basically saying, okay, I need to understand these things about life. Once I understand it, once I'm in it, once I'm living here and now, then I am fully aware, then it's gonna all happen and take place. And when you're in that element, where you're in that momentum, when you're in that flow, in that stream, like people like to say, you equally can share it with other people, and that's where it's essential. And it's called the ripple effect. Now, these institutes and organizations, they don't like that from happening, because they have a set of rules, they have their version of doctrine, they have an hierarchy, they divide the so-called power they have. And it goes the way down, it goes all the way down, but at the end, at the bottom, the people, that the normal people, they don't have anything. That's just basically like, I think I know what it is and tastes like, but actually I have no idea. Isn't that a terrible thing to understand and witness and see happening? And what is worse, if when you see that concerning your brother or your sister that is in it, stuck in it, like it is a spiritual prison and cage, and you're not able to do anything to help them, isn't that also not like antichrist mindset? Whether you think you can't, or whether you not do it at all, because what's the point, right? We have to respect their freedom of choice and we have to respect their religion. So a worldly mindset takes over whether you're gonna help your brother or sister or not. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's why the core message of that video totally got misunderstood, tossed aside, and solemnly got focused on how I look and present myself, and only taking the time to watch 1 minute to 2 minutes of the video to form a full image concerning me, and from there on how people would see me by whatever they were taking in within that minute or 2 minutes. What's basically being very rude, harsh and judgmental. And I thought for people that claim themselves to be Christ-like beings or followers of Christ by the means of the church, that these people are actually completely not doing exactly what Christ did if it came to people that we would marginalize, discriminate against, and look down upon. Why do you think, you gotta ask yourself this question, why do you think Christ on earth preferred to sit with prostitutes, beggars, lepers, sick people, possessed people, money hungry people, like people that had a defect physically, mentally, or spiritually that could be healed and helped and saved because they were yearning for that reconnection with God. All they needed was an ignition of that spark within. But these people in this hierarchical, in this institute, that was ruled and governed by the Pharisees, that is a bloodline that goes to, for example, Catholicism, they didn't want any of that. They wanted the glory, the views, they wanted the admiration, they wanted the fear to be brought upon people. They wanted to be in full control of people's lives and determine who is going to be saved and who not. So they would only mingle with people they thought were equally of importance, social status and wealth and all that stuff and influence, and they would keep themselves separate from anything that wasn't like that because of a fear of a loss of reputation and respect. But they didn't have any power to solve or heal or to fix or bring people to God. They didn't have that authority, but they had the audacity to claim that. So what do you think that Christ did? Is make thought-provoking comments, make thought-provoking actions, not by doing it by force, by doing it by the will, in following the way and completing the life cycle of existence for him. Now if you do that and people say, okay, this guy, this person, this being has true power, I have nothing at all, you're fearful, you're hateful, you're intolerant, you want to destroy that person. And that's what takes over, and that's what I see is the Antichrist spirit coming on a lot of people, because I talk from a different position and perspective, not authority. I'm not claiming any type of authority, definitely not. I'm talking from a point and position where I have a background, okay? I have a background of study, companionship, travel, discipleship, a lot of things I went through in the search and understanding of who or what Christ is and was, and how the importance of it is relevant to humans' existence here and now and in the near future, and why it's under threat. So nobody asked me the question. Nobody asked me, what is your background, what is your religion, what are your beliefs? Nobody asked me. Everybody just, okay, you look like scum, you look like a worldly person, you're satanic influenced, because of ink, for example. These are all stereotypical misconceptions that people will go off that are actually worldly. So that distinguishes us already. That people that make these comments are sucked into a worldly view and mindset. So they are further removed from Christ. My opinion that I'm sharing. It is a opinion and not a statement. It's an opinion and out of observance. So when people come at me like that, they forget to actually look at the bigger picture that actually goes beyond layers. So when you look at something and you see one layer, that doesn't mean that that first layer defines to the core that person or that situation or that organization. You have to go beyond layers. You have different skin layers, you have different soul layers, you have different layers in the mind. So if you can't understand that and you just focus on whatever you see at first glance, first impression, you are a prisoner, a slave to the world itself already. You've been tricked, duped, and you're imprisoned in a spiritual prison called religion, called secularism, called a lot of things. Okay, it goes by many names, but it's to keep you away from the essentials and the most important thing, because you have a short time span. Time is limited, so the more distractions, the more confusion, the more misconceptions, the better it's gonna be for these powers, because then you're not gonna be able to form an actual threat, spiritual power that could actually inflict some serious damage. What is healing and restoration? You see where I'm getting at? You know, let me tell you this. I am not the person that wants to stand front and center of attention. I don't need attention. I don't need admiration. I don't need compliments. I don't need acknowledgement or recognition. I don't need people to take everything as truth, what I'm saying, in the sense of because I'm saying it. I'm not that type of person. I'm not that type of person. That's why I always say I do not claim to know everything, because the more I know, the less I actually truly know. And that's something I'm willing to admit and I associate with. But what I know, and what is essential to share, I will share, and that's where it stops. Whatever people do with it, whether it's relevant or not to their lives at that point, is up to them. I'm not forcing myself onto people. I'm just sharing my concern, a message of relevancy, or some insight. And that's it. That's it. Okay? I'm not here to debunk. I'm not here to destroy. I'm not here to humiliate. Or, I'm not here to do the things that are commonly associated with negative traits if it comes to having biases towards something. No, because there is no point. I don't have to insult people's beliefs or religious system they're in to make my point come across in the right way. I can tell people that I don't agree with this religion, I don't agree with this religion because such and such. But that doesn't mean that in the totality everything is dismissed by default and you should too. That's not the core message in the related message. So for me, it's very sad to see people focusing on the superficial, trying to hurt me and break me down and make me want to stop and give up, instead of understanding what the core intention was with the message trying to be shown to a specific person, where a video was recommended to me by the algorithm. So isn't that interesting that along the way, like always has been with humans, that you start saying it here, it ends up there, and people don't even know what the message was all about. It completely, it misshaped. It changed so extreme. And then what are people still talking about? About how heretic, how satanic, how pagan, how confused I am. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you think, if that's what is important to you, how you see me, then I accept that. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not here to trying to make you see me in a different way. If that's the way you want to see me, it makes you feel comfortable about yourself and good about yourself. But it's interesting to see that over all the time of human existence, people haven't changed. They haven't changed. They haven't changed, and that's sad. Bragging about progress and evolution and scientific research and advancements and tech and biotech and bioengineering and all, that's all people have and can do. It's just brag about it. But if you look at people's development on a spiritual level in human existence, it's nothing to be proud of. It's just ridiculous. And that's the thing that I want people to step away from, if they're willing to, if they feel that they are at a point in their lives. You know, understand that religion is a spiritual cage that gives you the idea it's offering you it all, but all it's doing is showing you an image that is not that what you want to achieve at the end of your life. So it's pure deception, and it's lying, and it's keeping you away from reconnecting with God. Why do you think that every time there is someone that has a positive influence and that creates instant change, right, reawakens or make people reborn, when it has that impact, that person has to be liquidated, has to be terminated, deleted directly, or imprisoned, or whatever? Because the moment that ripple effects take place, it goes from 1 to 10 to 10,000. And that's something that these institutes can't allow, because then they lose all authenticity and power, position, control, and then they're nothing, because then people will understand that they're just being full of themselves and they lied. You know, I don't know what more I can say about this. I hope this message as a follow-up is going to be relevant enough for people that are still willing to take the time of the day to listen to whatever I have to share. You know, all I can think of is, if it's something that's going to help you along the way, if it's something that's kind of like adding to what you were thinking or feeling or seeing before you saw me, then that's a good sign. You've got to go with these signs, because they do not happen on coincidence, you know. It happens with a reason. We all get stuck in life at some point, but we've got to realize that being stuck, remaining stuck in a certain position, isn't the end goal and isn't your life path. So you will be provoked, you will be challenged, you will be questioned, but that's the time for change, transformation, and liberation. And that's where I want to end the video. I hope it's motivational, inspiring, and it does add something to you. And let me know in the comment section how you feel about it. You know, let me know in the comment section how you think about it. Let me know in the comment section what you want me to talk about future-wise if it comes to these topics. Because I have a lot to share, and the only problem with me is that I need someone actually to ask me specifics before I start talking about it, when I tap into it. Because when I have to find it, like grab it out of thin air, it can be a drag, and I might be, you know, extending it just to find it so I can relate that message. But when people would just be, okay, talk about this or talk about that, I can instantly give you an answer that you might essentially need. So think about it. Thank you for watching. As usual, I'll be seeing you next time. Until next video.